Alright guys, this is Jerningham here. Apparently the coronavirus has been found in animals, and apparently there's a party in Wales and it's been shut down. There was like 50 people having a party in Wales, so the police have shut it down. I don't know where the area was. And there's been another incident in Manchester, Rusholme in Manchester. Police have said 4 teenagers have been stabbed at aged 17 years old. Now that's very sickening for a lot of people if you're a mum or a dad and you want to hear something like that off your daughters or sons. Being arrested after 17-year-old was stabbed finally in Rusholme, Manchester. I'm going to show you it here. There you go. It says it on the TV as well, so I'm not making it up or joking. It says police said 4 teenagers have been arrested after a 17-year-old was stabbed. So, when is this world going to stop doing this? There's one talking on the news. It just keeps happening and then happening and happening over and over again. People keep getting stabbed. Is there a reason why? Because somebody doesn't like somebody? Or because somebody thinks it's okay to walk around with a knife because they don't like the look of someone? Or did the teenage boy, say something? That's what people presume. But sometimes you can be walking down the road and somebody has a problem with you if you look at someone, or they say you look at them weirdly. Perhaps this boy didn't do anything, and it gives these 4 teenagers to give them the right to kick the shit out of him for no reason. That doesn't make it right in the world. And what is that boy's mum and dad going to think about this? They're going to be very upset about it. The world we're living in at the minute is terrible, especially the coronavirus is going around. And then this incident happens in Manchester to him. It looks like an innocent person, but some people say there's always a problem for some things. What I mean by that is there's always something kicking off around the world, or it's silly in my opinion. You can't even walk out your own front door without getting attacked. In some places in the UK and other countries. In other places are safer. As I say, it's a look of the draw, but it's not right for that guy. There's always incidents happening in London and Manchester, busy cities like Birmingham. If you're in a town or a village, I think it's very unlikely that problems happen because there's not more people in the town or village. It's a quieter area, a place. But saying that, there is problem. They probably do have problems in towns and villages with crime and knife crime and guns and stuff, but it's more happens in the cities. That's what I'm trying to say. It's more, that's very sad news again. You would have thought people would stop doing these crazy things. Perhaps they think it's a game going around shooting people and stabbing people, but the thing is, when the game's up and the police get you, who's won then? You haven't won. The police have won and got you. So always think before you do things in life, that's what I say. Because the consequences won't be very nice. So pick your choices wisely in the world. We all have problems in the world that we want to be fighting people and beating the shit out of people and grabbing hold of them and strangling them. But sometimes you got to keep them urges to yourself, because what happens if you kill one person and that person knows another person? Then they come looking for you. There won't be just one person looking for you, there'll be a gang of them. That's what happens when you annoy one person. You don't know what's behind them and back of them. They could know a lot of people. That's why you pick your fights wisely with people, and sometimes it's best to avoid a fight than try and create one and start one. Sometimes it can come to you, fights, and you've got to walk away. You've got to make 2 choices, walk away or fight. Some people prefer to walk away. What's happened today is a very sickening act, and a lot of people are going to be disappointed. Some people are probably scared to probably be scared to walk out their own house because of the knife incident happened in Manchester. They'll be wary. I'm not surprised they're going to be wary. Be alert, be vigilant. It's so silly, the world, sometimes. Even though loads of these people from other countries want to get away from war and problems. There's still problems in the UK. Big problems. Most of these people are teenagers that are bored and want to go around terrorising people. We've all been at that age before, and we all grow older and realise that that's not the way to be, unfortunately. Because what's the point of hurting somebody mentally and upsetting them and doing damage to them? Because it doesn't make you big or it doesn't make you hard, does it? The only person that's going to be affected is their family, and you that's caused the problem. The thing is, in the world, it's best to make a friend than make an enemy. But not everybody knows how to make friends in this world, or not been shown how to. It's disappointing. Let's see what's on the news now.
And TUI actually followed the latest government advice regarding travel to mainland Spain from the UK.
Talking about mainland Spain,
they've taken a decision to suspend flights and holiday programmes to Alicante, Malaga, Murcia from tomorrow up to and including the 16th of August. So you're really at the end of, so it was pretty much a fortnight shy of the end of the school holidays for many people. Where customers are affected by any programme changes, Jet2.com and Jet2 Holidays have repeatedly recognised by media, consumer organisations and customers for how they've been looking after customers. Well, they would say that, wouldn't they? But that's the essential point, that they're changing things for the next fortnight or so, longer in fact. Now, the lack of diversity in the UK's largest companies has been highlighted by a new report. It says 62% of board members at FTSE 100 companies are white males, and they occupy 84% of executive directorships. The report is by DiversityQ. It says fewer than 10 directors is black, Asian, or a minority ethnicity. We're joined by Cheryl Cole, the editor of DiversityQ, who wrote that particular report. Cheryl, welcome to you. 25% of primary school kids are BAME. They are the future, but they're not represented in our boardrooms.
Not at all. Yes, as you said, we did the report back in June, just because we wanted to see if any progress had been made since the Parker Review, which asked for there to be at least one BAME person on a FTSE 100 board by 2021. Unfortunately, there isn't. It's been slow, it's been limited, and as you quite rightly said, only I think 9.8% of FTSE board members are BAME. That's 99.
Report says 62% of Breadline members.
And most of them
100
have
complaints area
roles.
white males.
There were 3.8% of them are BAME females, and they're all in non-exec roles. We found that there were about 7 CEOs.
Diversity of the business.
Drink and healthcare, and that was it. So progress has been really, really slow.
And Cheryl, is it enough to rely on shareholder pressure, for instance, to persuade those who are in a position to change things, or do you feel it requires something a bit more muscular from government?
Well, we've had things like reporting targets. You know, we had the Equality Act set back in 2010. This is nothing new. We've been talking about these issues for years and years and years, and not a lot has happened. What we need now is companies to take ownership and be accountable for what's going on. It might be that we need some legislation. We were hoping to see ethnic minority pay gap reporting legislated earlier this year, but that didn't happen. Currently, only about 11% of companies publish their ethnicity pay gap reporting.
You've never been there before.
Whereas the hope was that it would follow in the success of mandatory gender pay gap reporting. It's now with the government to decide what's going to happen with that. But until we have things like that in place, legislation in place like that, there's going to be very little movement. And the reason having things like the pay gap reporting in place is because until you know what's happening in your organisation, you can't be held to account for what's going on. So, for instance, you might say that you want to have more black people in the company, but then once you look into it in more detail, you realise you've got a lot of black people, but they're all in underpaid jobs. So the reason we really want them to be a pay gap reporting mandatory is so that, you know, organisations can really start to do a deep dive in what they look like and what's going on, and then start to make progress.
And Cheryl, what do you say to those critics who will point to, say, Scandinavia and say, OK, what happens here is you get on the board, companies will window dress, so there'll be individuals who will sort of be recycled. They'll have umpteen executive directorships, but they will be a black face on the board.
It happens a lot. As I say, we've got a lot of non-exec. For example, when it comes to women on the boards, I think it's 32% make up as board members, but 89.5% of those are non-exec roles, and a lot of them have more than one non-exec role. So it's the same women that are being turned out over and over again in different positions. And it happens also with ethnic minority representation on boards. You'll find the same people have more than one board membership. To be fair, they're not doing the company any service, because until you have a variety of opinions, and it's talking about, when we talk about diversity, we also talk about diversity of thought. It's not just about colour, it's not just about gender or whether or not you have a disability or LGBT plus or whatever. It's about having diversity of thought, diversity of skills. And until you have a broad range of skill sets on your boardroom, you'll be making the same mistakes over and over, and you won't be representing the communities that you serve. If you don't do that, then you're missing out on millions in terms of your bottom line. So it doesn't really stand up that there is a lot of window dressing, but it's not making any sense.
Cheryl Cole is the editor of Diversity Q. Cheryl, really appreciate your time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
This is Sky News Today. Coming up, the government says it will not hesitate to place more countries on its quarantine list. Spain is there. Many holidaymakers, not very happy to put it mildly, will be looking at that story and the rest of the day's news in the company of Mark Austin. Stay with us.
Well, just a bit of short news there, guys. Hope you've all enjoyed it. I'm sorry it's very sad about the stabbing about Manchester, but sometimes people just don't seem to understand and realise about the world. Some of us do and some of us don't. Anyway, rest in peace. I mean, they've not died obviously, but they've been very injured by that attack. See you in the next video. Thanks for joining me. Peace.